So you're holding XRP, and you might be wondering, when exactly is the crazy run going to start? You've probably already been waiting on the gains for a while, and maybe it's been months. Maybe actually you saw a peak of your portfolio somewhere in January and it's been going down for 3 months. Is it worth it to hold on? Should you be selling it at this point? I mean, you're selling it now for like 40% less than you could have a while back. Is it still worth it to do so? We'll tackle that all today, as I saw some articles. One that was talking about the idea that the moment the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit comes to a conclusion, we'd see a crazy spike, or rather, that now that the case is paused, an explosive rally could be coming up. I saw an article state that you should not sell your XRP until this date. Investor advises XRP holders. Well, he basically said 1,000 XRP is enough for a joyful and free life. Just hold until 2029. I mean, I've also seen an article that said the XRP price is set to explode with bullish breakout targeting new heights. But honestly, these targets are not really new heights, nor are they very high. $2.10, $2.15 or so, $2.34, and then $2.59. Can't really state that these targets are what I would call heights for XRP, but indeed they're steps in the right direction, because recently it's mostly been sideways or slightly downwards and sideways. And well, even though thus far my strategy of always buy XRP at $2 still has worked, it's not worked as flawlessly. Or rather, if you got into XRP back in January, maybe you bought in above $3 or so and you're not enjoying your time. So then again, the question, like I just stated, arises: if you're at a loss, or really if you're at a tiny profit, should you sell now? Let's quickly state this. I am not a financial advisor, but I've been in the market for a while, and I can tell you one thing. I know how it works, all right? I know how the crypto market functions, at least to some extent, as to how to make money with it. And the one thing I'll tell you is it is all about timing. Selling at a time like this is not really bad if you're in a profit. Why? Well, because you're in profit. So at any point, even if it's only $3, you made money, all right? Is it worth all the waiting time? Was it worth, if you, for example, bought in 2018 and now you finally on a little bit of profit, is it worth it, all that time waiting? No. Perhaps that's a good question, but profit is profit, and I can never tell you selling for profit is a bad idea. However, two things become different. One is if you've got some broader goals, and two, if you're at a loss. Because my personal thought is always, when it comes to these quality assets, most likely we're still just at the start. We probably will look at this in a few months, maybe 6 months from now, maybe a year or two from now, and realize just how cheap it still was. Like, for example, back in November, when the rally from 50 cents to $3 started, if I now look back, I'm thinking, damn, it was cheap at 50 cents, huh? Because right now it's at 4 and more X the price. So if you look back now, you think, ooh, that was so cheap. I wish I bought more at that price. We'll probably have a similar sort of realization again soon. But again, it's a matter of patience when it comes to all that. If I were at a loss on my XRP right now, what I would probably do, and again, this is not financial advice. These are my thoughts. This is what I would do. And I think this has in my opinion, right, just opinion, a guarantee of winning, because I see basically a 0% chance of this not working out. I'm talking Bitcoin, XRP. I would want to put Ethereum in there, but let's skip that one for today's discussion. All right. I personally see a 0% chance of these coins not hitting new heights. I know it's a non-zero. All right. It's definitely possible these coins never go above these current prices, but I just see them as, I see it as a guarantee. So if that's the case, then all it becomes is a matter of, well, do I want to sell now to prevent further losses in the meantime? Or is there some sort of better opportunity? And those are two things that every single holder always has to think of, you know? How much further down can it go? It could go down a lot, but if you have a proper strategy in place. And tomorrow, I'll do probably a bot tutorial for how to actually buy XRP with bots. This could be something quite nice, actually, to make sure your average price is always quite solid, or at least if you have a range, for example, $3 to $1, what is the chance that XRP will go below $1 anytime soon, right? And if it does, well, you can prepare for it at that point. But what is the probability that we're going to have such a crazy spike where every major altcoin, even Bitcoin, still drops like 40 or 50%? I think it's rather small. So if that's in a little small corner, right? How can we benefit most from all these small drops, or even big drops, really? knowing that it won't fall that much in terms of price, most likely will rebound pretty quickly after deep falls and is going to be at multiple dollars further in the future. Again, in my opinion, it's all about just keep continuing to buy, lowering your average price down, and not giving up. But that's, again, all have to do with part one. So point number 2 was, is there another better asset that you could buy in the meantime? And there comes the question back to you. Well, what could it be? Is it gold? Is it stocks? Is it the US dollar? Is it bonds? Going with the interest rate? There's something to be said for any one of these options, but I always come back to the idea of, well, if we're doing what is the probability of it being successful? Perhaps a gold is higher. Perhaps a bond is higher. Maybe. What is the probability of being successful versus also the return that could come out of it? Gold has had an astronomical year, up 50% in the year or so. In hindsight, it was one of the best options because you could enter that with size, with all the money you've got, your whole family's net worth. It could have been pretty good. But what is the highest probability of doing a 10x over let's just call it 3-year period? Well, bonds are not going to do that. Gold is most likely not going to do that unless the craziest of wars were to happen. So then you only are left with, again, perhaps, but stocks are not going to 10x your, I'm talking about indices, right? Maybe some individual stocks, sure. But then it comes right back to crypto as well. If you're able to pick the right crypto, you can most likely 50x in just a 3-month span. Right now, it's more of an investment play. Sorry, I would say a value play where you're buying these coins that are undervalued, like an XRP, like a Bitcoin, etc., from their heights. They've gotten a pretty good discount. Buying here, for example, means you're buying at a way better price than what you could have bought at before. And even though the timing is different, we're not in full uptrend. We're mostly a little bit sideways. So some might say that this is not the best time to buy because you want to buy when things are like this, and then you buy on the way up in a dip. I would state it like this. With quality assets, it doesn't really matter too much where exactly in that process you buy. Because what are you going to replace it with? If you want to replace it with cash, you now have the option where you're actually sidelined fully for the whole duration. But getting back to it, the thing is, if you're patient enough, you'll notice that in some point in the near few months, we'll have a shift from the value plays being proper, you buying things that are undervalued because they will probably bounce back up hard, to momentum, meaning whatever does well, you buy because it'll probably do better. Right now, not a good time for that. You're not buying any coin that's up a few 100%, expecting it to go up even more hundreds of percents. You're buying coins that are down significantly, these distressed assets that are actually of very, very high quality, like a Bitcoin, like an XRP, etc. They're still down maybe 40% or so from their all-time high, an XRP at least is, or from its high point recently. It's way better to buy it now than previously if, again, the end goal is still the same. You're just getting yourself a better rate than before. And I know the market's different. And we're not in this fully up where you're just buying into a dip. It's different, which is why the risk is slightly higher. But that's if you want to make money in a not so bullish market, which is what a lot of people want to do. But again, if you're thinking about it probabilistically, just what probabilities, the highest likelihood of you making money in this market is by buying the dip, being convinced that it will not go to zero over the next few months, that altcoins will survive, and that it'll go back up in a certain amount of time. All you got to do then is be able to sit it out. And if you are, which I am, which is what I've done for every single crypto cycle, you make a ton of profit. Now, I will quickly say one thing. If you're looking for a platform to trade on, very soon I'll show you a little bit more with regards to bots, right? So don't worry about that. I think I'll do a video on that tomorrow, but it might take a few days because I'm going to make sure it's very detailed, very good, very proper. I will say though, this right here, this WeX link, the bonus on there doesn't work anymore. There's a different bonus right now. But you can use that trading exchange, the platform, from anywhere in the world. No KYC, no VPN, nothing necessary. Most likely you can use it for another few months. Just had a meeting with the team. Know the founder, know everybody. So it's all good in that sense. There's a lot I want to say there, but let me just say it like this. If you're looking for a platform to trade on, check out WeX. Might actually be one of the best ones to use right now for anybody in the world, US, wherever you at. It just works. If it's allowed for you guys, hey, that's your own decision right there, but it works. Not a lot of exchanges have that, and this one is a very, very solid one. Blowfin, it will work, but you need a VPN for a lot of restricted countries. So it will also work because there's no KYC, but both of them will have crazy bonuses, so that's not really the big issue. But I think just in general, I think it might be wise from my side if I just show a bit more how to actually properly build a XRP purchasing structure. Not because XRP is the only thing I think is worth buying, but I think to just prove a point of if you properly DCA, it's quite hard to lose over a longer amount of time. And it can be easier with bots, which is why I might be doing it that way. Some people will need a VPN, obviously, for depending on where they're at. But I think that might be the best way to do it. So I think maybe tomorrow I'm going to get up to that because for me, it's also clear. XRP, Bitcoin, it's so easy to win with those. I think I could literally go to any bank right now, remortgage one of my properties, and just put it all in. But the thing is, you got to also think for yourself, just how much do you want to be in one sector? At some point, same thing for buying watches or buying things of that sort. It's kind of all a waste of money. It's not maybe your best investment, but maybe you want to enjoy things. Maybe you just want to have things, right? You don't have to fully max out investments. I always say to people as well, enjoy your things. If you made a ton of money, for example, enjoy it. It's not worth just stacking infinite amounts of money if you're not going to do anything with it ever. For me. Everybody's different though, right? But so when it comes back to this as well, I personally think it's a guarantee, which is why I've got such incredible amounts of money riding on this. And that's why, for example, it's a very funny thing. In this November to March situation, there's some people in the crypto scene, for example, who don't know exactly how many coins I've got when it comes to XRP, for example, but they've got some idea because I've been stacking this for many years and I've talked about it and advocated for it for a long time. So when this coin, I went from 50 cents to $3 or $4 almost, especially with some of the leverage positions you've not seen, it was an interesting situation. The amount of people who all of a sudden started kissing my ass a bit and started clapping and stuff was crazy. But I've told them as well, you've laughed at XRP for a long time, but I just am quite sure that over time, it'll just keep performing pretty well, especially if you consider how it did in 2017. The amount of hype it was able to create back then, I think this time around, it will be probably even crazier. I think the $2 right now that we're seeing is like a baseline. It'll go from there. And I still often now get laughs again because the price now is down. Many people now start saying, no, it'll be back below $1 soon. And I say it could be, but that doesn't change where it's going to end up eventually. I don't think it's going to go below $1 though. I had a discussion just 2 days ago, and most of us concluded below $1 is a pretty small freaking chance unless Bitcoin goes for a full-on capitulation. But at that point, we're all just kind of screwed for a little bit of time. Anyway, but so as long as you don't overdo it with the craziest amount of leverage, it's quite hard to lose over a, let's just call it 6-9 month time span. In the middle, things might get annoying, things might get hard. But even any of the trades you've seen on this channel, there's only going to be 1 or 2 out of probably 400 that are going to be ending up at a loss. Why? To be honest, you can have, when it comes to trading, any win percentage you want. It doesn't really say much, right? It's not about the win percentage. It's about how big your wins are. And obviously also how big the loss is at if your win percentage is not 100%. But I'm telling you right now, if you use the strategies that I've used here for the last 8 years, whoa, time flies, man. I'm getting old. Time really flies, especially in this crypto space, man. It just has always worked. And sometimes I sit here, like right now today, I'm making a video. What is the video exactly about? I think it's mostly just explaining to people why I think buying XRP is not a stupid idea, and why many people come up to me in the comments saying it's a scam, it's so stupid, dabba-dibba-dabba-doo. Say whatever you want to say. But thus far, it's always worked out. The counter is a lot of people like to point out saying, Dusty, actually, XRP went from $3 whatever to 30 or 10 cents. So actually, many people lost money. And I counter by saying, if you bought that freaking dip like a maniac at 10 cents, look at where we are right now. We went to a freaking $3.40 a few months ago. You would have had a 34x if you went crazy on that 10 cents. Even if your average price was just $1, you would have still doubled, maybe tripled your money in this little time period, right? It might take a few years, right? It might take some time, but that still, in my opinion, means it's a guarantee of a return. The only question is, will the return be worth the wait? But for me, especially because of leverage, it always will be. For some, it might not. But if it's, again, almost guaranteed, and I don't know what else to go for, because stocks, there's some issues I have with stocks. I have some stocks, but there's issues with that as well. Gold, there's issues with the US dollar. There's issues with anything you can think of. Diversify your risk, go for things that you very much. But then again, it's also about the potential of just crazy gains on top. So again, maybe, just maybe, I only 3x my capital over the next few months. Maybe. In my case, that's like one of the worst case scenarios, right? With gold, I wouldn't have 3x'd. With indices, I wouldn't have 3x'd. You know what I mean? Nothing else is going to be better. They just might be less risk, less volatile in the meantime. But still, the end result, I think, is this is one of the best RRs, best risk rewards. I don't know. It just makes sense to me. And I want to quickly update y'all on that situation. Just the idea that this is how I look at it. This is how I wake up every single day. This is why sometimes I don't have to post a video for a day. Why? I've not done anything. No real news has come out. All I'm doing is stacking up these coins. And if you're wondering, am I always buying them if the dip comes in? I have everything automated. There's also manual things I do. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I will always buy if things go down. It's just sometimes I might forget to say it out loud, or I might forget the exact price targets because it's kind of all already set. But whenever there's a dip, I will always buy. Percentages sometimes just change, but I will always, every single dip for Bitcoin, for XRP, for a couple other coins as well. Always. Why? Because this is my bread and butter. I've been here for many years. I still believe in the industry till the freaking end of it. And I'm 100% convinced, but this is not financial advice, that this will succeed. But that's in my head. It's either billions or zero. It's also the conclusion. But yeah. You know what? That's about it. If you want to trade, also, like I said, I've left some links down below. I'll update these tomorrow with why exactly which exchange might be nice and what exactly the bonuses are. Maybe the day after, depending on how quick I can get things done. But we'll do a lot more trading stuff specifically because I'm thinking it makes more sense if I update you guys on a more accurate basis with what trades I'm taking and how to actually make this a profitable endeavor in times like this, where not everything's just straight up green up every single day. But it will be good though. So stay tuned for the next few days. Make sure you put the notification bell on because things are about to get wild.